vintage shop owners with one big secret.
We found this thing. It was literally by the bins.
Yeah, and then I guess we were just messing about and
I went to 1945.
Hello everybody, welcome back to Screenstars. I'm here today to bring you my review for the 2024 science fiction comedy Time Travel is Dangerous. The film is co-written and directed by Chris Redding, and it stars Ruth Siriat, Megan Stevenson, Tony Way, Guy Henry, Brian Blessed, Johnny Vegas, Jane Horrocks, and narrated by Stephen Fry. Now the film follows two ladies who own a retro antique shop, I suppose you could call it, a knick-knack shop almost, and they are struggling along paying the rent, and then they find by the bins an abandoned time machine. And while they don't know it's a time machine, they actually think it's something that they'll be able to sell in the store, like because it's shaped like a dodgem from a fairground. So they take it back and they're messing around with it, and then they discover that they could actually time travel in it, which is a godsend for them, Ruth and Megan, because they can go back to any point in time and steal a lot of stuff to bring it back to the shop and sell it. However, time travel turns out to be quite dangerous, and they find and get in touch with the local science fair enthusiast group, I suppose, who have got knowledge of this time machine. Get in touch with them. They are banned from going in the time machine by this stiff upper lip group. However, they don't really take that advice, and things go from bad to worse. Right, what are my thoughts on Time Travel is Dangerous? Well, this is a wonderfully British sitcom-style comedy, and in actual fact, something I was thinking while I was watching this is this actually would have made quite a good sitcom. You could have gone to different time periods, different episodes, and the concept I think is very, very sound here. It's wonderfully silly and slapstick, doesn't make a lot of sense. It's got some fun performances, and it's got Stephen Fry narrating it, so that immediately elevates the film, in my opinion, because he's brilliant at that sort of thing. I liked the whole idea that you've got these two women running this retro shop, finding a time machine and thinking it's best used to go back in time and steal stuff to sell in the shop. It's just so wonderfully British and quirky and ridiculous. The fact that they're bringing stuff back that in actual fact is absolutely priceless, and they're selling it in the shop for pennies. I couldn't get over that. I mean, these are probably the stupidest people you're ever going to meet. But it is a fun concept, and when they get in touch with, like I say, this local science group run by this really tight upper lip dude, it kind of takes on a different dynamic, if you like, because they start getting involved as well then. But I really liked it when they were going back in time, and you could see them. For the one scene in particular went back in time, it was like the Western times, and they're just walking around stealing shit, like picking bags off things and saying, "Oh, we'll take that," and then someone gets shot outside a saloon, and it doesn't even bother them. They basically steal the guy's hat so they can sell it. It's fun, if not silly, I suppose. But I mean, it's a comedy; it's meant to be silly, sort of thing. And then you've got the inventors of this time machine. We've got Johnny Vegas and another child, Brian Bovel's character, Ralph. They used to do like a successful science TV show years ago, a bit like Tomorrow's World. And if you're from the UK and you're from my kind of generation, you'll know what Tomorrow's World is. Bit like that. And they used to do like a science show, and that's kind of where they invented this time machine. But when they played around with it, it kind of had a sinister end for them, which is why they kind of got rid of it. Not particularly well, but they did get rid of it. And the way they describe it, it almost Lovecraftian horrors, that they had to deal with some of the trips that they did, sort of thing. And then it just gets completely batshit by the end, in a sense of, one of the girls, I think it's Megan, needs rescuing because she's gone missing, so she's kind of been sucked into another dimension, and they've got to kind of all work together to kind of get her back. And it's, let's say, it's all very British. It's all quite amusing. It's all nice and easy to watch, and it kind of is unpredictable. A lot of these kind of comedies, if you like, because we don't get a lot of British comedies so much anymore. Certainly, not quirky, unique ones. And I do think that's a shame, because the British sense of humour is a very, very unique thing. And when you get one, and you get one that does kind of tickle the funny bone a little bit, and it's just so wonderfully quirky, like this one. And I do think this is a very, very quirky and well made and well thought out, fun little comedy. It's a shame that we don't get more of these. We get quite a lot of these cookie cutter, highly structured and blueprinted American comedies, that some of them can be quite funny, but they all follow the same pattern, sort of thing. They all follow the same blueprint that is laid out and all that kind of stuff. But this one doesn't follow really any kind of blueprint. It's just kind of like, have some of this. It's a bit mad. It's a bit mental. Doesn't make any sense. Yes, you're supposed to get frustrated because they are a bit stupid. But at the same time, it's also undeniably quite entertaining and fun to watch. So I'm really glad I checked this one out, actually. I think this is one of those that if you're looking for something that's a little bit different, a little bit fun, a little bit unique, and you like the English sense of humour, then I think you'll have a decent time with this one. I thought it was fun. I never felt bored either, ever. It doesn't kind of weigh itself down with serious dialogue or anything. It doesn't do that. Even when it's trying to be semi-serious, it's still silly. So it's got that DNA throughout it, the whole thing, sort of thing, and it allows you to have fun and not take the film seriously, because it certainly doesn't do that with itself. So yeah, if you like British comedy films, good British sense of humour, check this one out. I had a pretty good time with it, and I hope you get the opportunity to see it. So thanks very much for watching, guys. I'll be back, of course, with plenty more reviews and content on the channel very, very soon.